Bengals on the road at the Bills. The Bengals, who probably shouldn't have beaten the Ravens, now down basically their whole offensive line
Yeah.
against a Bills team that should have blown the Dolphins out of the water. The total is 48.5. All the money coming in on the over. And the number has been bouncing around. It got as low as 3.5.
Yep.
It got as high as 6. It's now at 4.5. This is a really interesting one. It's one of the only. No, that's not true. I was going to say we've got a real Pro Joe split here, though.
Yep. You know what we're gonna call this one? Foxhole.
Foxhole!
Hit the damn music, man, Mitchell.
We're going with the Bills.
Going with the Bills.
Yeah.
Foxhole Bills. No brainer. Chad just pretty much summed it up perfectly. You're getting an undervalued Bills team coming off arguably one of their worst games of the season, defensively, offensively, special teams wise. I love everything about this one. I mean, not only do I think McDermott's one of the best coaches in football, he's the only defensive head coach. If you look at all the teams left, every other mind is an offensive mind. His special is defense, and now he's going up against an offensive line that's missing 3 starters, 3 key starters, not just 3 guys like that have helped plug holes on that offensive line. Really important cogs to that pieces of that Cincinnati team, Chad. So when we saw it last week with the Ravens, obviously Ravens defense, I'd grade them a little higher than I would the Bills, honestly, at this point. I mean, you saw how dominant that defensive line was for the Ravens against the run, against Joe Burrow. We're not gonna get that same kind of turnout here from the Bills, right? They've lost Von Miller, but they're gonna be able to scheme up incredibly difficult schemes on that defensive line to stop for that offensive line. When you're bringing guys in, that's the biggest thing, right? There's all these little call signs, all these little things that, as the season goes along, these offensive line, they build up a trust of, okay, they're switching into this formation. We know how to counter that with our own call signs and everything like that. When you're bringing in 3 new guys at the end of a season to play in those roles that they need to make calls in the middle of snaps of guys rolling off doubles, whatever it is, to like rotate over different sides, that's a huge deal for the Bengals. We saw that last week. They really look like the team they were last year, right? They needed a ton of luck to win games and make it through the playoffs. Not this regular season. This regular season, the Bengals were legit dominant. I mean, the books, they hated them. That was free money almost every week for people to bet them. I mean, they might have covered, since the Super Bowl, they might be like 20-4 ATS since the playoffs last year, including this past season. So they were on an absolute roll, but we're seeing it finally catch up to them, and we're seeing the market catch up to them. I mean, the Bengals are going to attract a ton of public money this week because in their mind, people said, yeah, the Bengals had a bad week. They played like crap. So did the Bills. Like, they shouldn't be catching more than 3 points. They think this is a really bad line. So me and Chad, not that I knew Chad was going to be honest. I knew that we would have a debate about this one. I'd try to convince him to come to the side. He was already on it with me from the get-go. So to me, we can grab 4.5 right now at FanDuel. That's why I really want people to go get it right now, just because I do see it going up. I see the pros coming on the Bills just because of that big issues right now on the offensive line, and vice versa. I think the Bills are going to be in a nice bounce back spot here. Like the issues they had against Miami, easily fixable. The Bengals are not. Like that stuff they cannot cure in a week. The stuff they need to change. So big movement this week. Chad just talked about it. Some books opened this 6.5, and all of us were like, "What the hell?" I immediately got bet down.
What the higgity?
I immediately got bet down at 3.5, 4, and we've seen just the pro money coming in now, trickling it back up to 4.5, 5. So if you're able to, yes, grab that 4.5 with us. I just cannot see us being moved off the position. I'm going to be on the Bills this week. I'm not going to be a shocker to everyone. I don't have an upset on this side of the bracket. I got it being pretty boring, neutral field, Bills Chiefs, but I just think they're the 2 best teams in the AFC offseason. Nothing's changing for me at this point. They're like, yes, the Bills have had injuries. The Chiefs, honestly, are getting healthier at this point of the year, but the Bills, they do have some injuries. I still think they're far above, better than a really banged-up Cincinnati team that they can't overcome all these injuries. They needed that offensive line to give Burrow time to be what he is, which is a great quarterback. He just does not have it right now.
Interesting. Obviously, this game is a rematch of a game that happened or didn't happen.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. In that game in Cincinnati, so much at stake for the playoffs. And now we've got it being played in Buffalo.
Yep.
Buffalo is a favorite. We were talking about that game just from a betting point of view from a few weeks ago. You, me, Vegas Refund, who we do Action Island with. We all like Buffalo in that game.
Yeah.
And people being nervous after watching the beginning of that game.
Which we know means nothing.
I know, but
still, we're human.
Like, now all of a sudden we're so confident in the Bills.
Injuries.
What a difference.
And
what a difference.
This is Goodell's dream of, not that the man's heartless and that these owners are heartless, but it is a business. And Joe Burrow made the biggest mistake of the season because he's a good human being of going over to that Josh Allen and the Bills team and saying, no, it's fine. We both shouldn't play this game. Let's walk away. Where the rule literally states, Joe Burrow should have walked over and said, hey, we're ready to play. Josh Allen said, well, we're not. And he would say, okay, then you forfeit, right? And the Bills said, yes, we forfeit. And this game would be in Cincy right now, and the Bills would be on the road. So this played out just as Roger wanted it. We'll never see anyone ever again walk away from a game because they put those rules in place and they were pissed. So Cincy fans, I get it. They've been complaining already this week that they shouldn't have to be playing this game. And Buffalo, it should be a neutral field. I get where you guys are coming from. It sucks, but those were the rules. You guys left the field voluntarily, and just like the Bills did, and the Bills have no need to be punished. So Bills have this at home. They deserve to be getting the points. This is the side we're definitely going to be on. And to me, if it stays under 6, there's no doubt you're getting good value on this Bills team. I just love this matchup for that defense in such a nice bounce-back spot where everyone, like I just said, everyone's so down on this team where any pro with a computer model is going to project out. The Bills easily should have covered last week. Not easily covered, but they should have covered and won. What would this line have been if they had done so, right? This would probably be 6.5, 6. So to me, we're getting a point and a half of free value just based off last week.
While you were talking, I did what I like to do on a Simon Says bet. I went into the app and I quick slipped it. I used FanDuel Quick Slip in the Action Network app. I'm in New York. It was so freaking easy to use.
Love Quick Slip.
The total on this game opened over 50.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
know.
been bet down. I think it's at 48.5 right now.
So I think it's the same thing. And pros are looking at that O-line of the Bengals, and they just think they're going to have issues moving the ball. So I love the under at 50. I would still take it. We even Chad already talked about 48.5 is a key number. I'd grab that now if you could. This is just a game I will be on the under. Right now, there's only one game I'm leading towards the over, and that's that Eagles-Giants game. That's most likely for me to end up on that over. We'll talk the next game too, but I just really like the unders this week, especially after a 5-1 over week for Wild Card Weekend. I mean, the public, they are fat. They're fat off that last week. 5-1 towards the over, and the under only hit by half a point because of 4 missed extra points. So I think we're going to see a little bit of over adjustment from these sports books, which early money on this, especially this game, that's very interesting. The pros are coming on this under so heavily, but it makes sense when you really think about Cincinnati, those offensive line struggles.